Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network episode 27. Today in our music and music production live stream, we'll be talking about a new analog drum machine that caught our eye, a new challenger in the music distribution game, and Spotify pre-save campaigns, an interesting article we found that talks about what they really are and whether they're worth it in the long run. My name is Sunwarper, and as always, I am joined by my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you? Looks like you're typing, so I might have caught you at a bad time, but how are you?
No, just making sure that we've got everything that we need in order to make this work. As well, we're a bit of a truncated episode this week. It's all we had our usual problems at the beginning in terms of getting the live stream up. Last minute changes. We've had a few schedule changes as well. So, yeah. But I am good, man. I am very good. I love these Wednesdays, and so yeah, it's always nice.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world? What's going down?
Oh, not a ton. I was actually typing. I just put something in the chat. Chat, how's everybody doing today? Let us know. What have you been up to? What are you working on at the moment? But yeah, I've been good. I've been really taking a step away from the computer and the DAW. Like, I just posted a new video on my YouTube where I used the SP, the circuit tracks, and the Erebus, and I made like what I felt like was an equivalent to my normal DAW type tracks, which I don't usually feel that equivalence or whatever, like that. But it was a lot of fun to work that way, and every time I've been sitting in front of the computer lately, like with the keyboard and stuff, I'm not feeling it. Like, it's just so uninspired. So it's been fun to do this, and this is kind of the way I'm looking to go for my next project. So it seems to sync up nice. I also got this little guy.
Hey, he fits in the screen.
Yeah. That's nice. I know. Look at how small it is. I probably will get a case. I haven't actually used it yet, but it's a really cool little portable sampler. It also has a microphone, so you can just sample right into it, like field recordings or hit little rocks or something to make drums.
If you hit big rocks, it won't fit in the sampler.
Yeah, it'll clip too hard. But that's what I've been up to. Besides the crazy heat in California, it's been over 100 degrees for like a week, and it's supposed to keep going until Saturday. And 100 degrees, I think, is like, what did I say when we were on our call? 41
like
Celsius?
40, 41, 42, 43.
Yeah, so
like that, yeah.
For the rest of the world that uses that, it's like over 40 degrees Celsius. It's been horrible. But how have you been?
I mean, it's less hot here than it is over there. So,
that's always good. Silver lining, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to live in Vietnam, which is bloody hot.
Yeah.
But I mean, here in Czech, it's a lot more balanced, shall you say? So like, it's nice here. Like, I'm waking up in the mornings with a little bit of a chill. Autumn's coming, and I kind of vibe on that, because you know what that means. When autumn comes, and then winter comes after that, I don't have to go outside. And so you know what happens when I don't have to go outside? I can just play my synthesizers, and I can't wait. Like, Czech winters are bloody cold, and like you don't really want to go out. There's snow and it's frosty, it's horrible, it's stinky, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then so it's like there's no excuse. Like during summer, it's like we're gonna go out, we're gonna go down to the lake, or we're gonna go down to the river, and we're gonna go paddleboarding because it's sun and we can do it. And now it's like we're gonna stay in. It's great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
But you've been staying in a little bit doing some music though, right?
Yeah, so like
it's a little paradox there, but
it's almost as if we had this conversation yesterday or 2 days ago.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure you mentioned it.
Yeah. Basically, I finished all the tracking for Marooned, my album.
Nice.
And my forthcoming, the album that I've finished writing, should we say? Finally put there's 10 tracks, and then there'll be, I think, 2 or 3 more for like a deluxe kind of like Bandcamp exclusive,
nice,
which are there. I need to send a couple for you for mastering, actually, which I forgot.
A couple, yeah, all of them.
Yeah. We'll get there eventually. 3 of them are fully done, and then you've got the rest are ready. They're in the folder now that says ready for mixing. So my job from Friday, my job from Friday and continuous is basically to mix 1 a day. And so
there you go. Yeah,
that's the idea. We're going to talk about it in a bit when we get to the round robin, because me and you had some discussions concerning timelines and deadlines and stuff.
That actually reminds me, though. I'm bad about this, but I've been spending a lot of time drafting emails and whatnot. But we have a new Audionautic Records release pre-order coming Friday. My new album, finally, Radiant Visage, is dropping on Friday for pre-order with the new single. There's going to be a CD, a limited CD with a postcard and exclusive EP download, and then there may be a vinyl. We're sorting through with rising cost prices and stuff. We're figuring out if it's doable. But yeah, over in the chat, we've got Shady Ridge. He says, hey guys, Bendu, hello folks, and Hydro Fighter, hey all. How are you all doing today? Let us know. We're happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But all Shady, Bendu, and Hydro Fighter are all patrons of ours, and we love you for it. Thank you so much. The reason that you guys allow us to do more of this, where we don't have to do so much of the day work, and it really helps. And we can do more and more of this, like more Binary Stars coming out. We've just had a Binary Stars, which was released a couple of days ago. That is from next month going up to two a month, I believe. We've got our next batch recording next week on Wednesday or Tuesday. No, it'd be Tuesday because Wednesday's ADSN.
Monday, I think.
Monday, yes, Monday.
We had a schedule shift.
I'm the one with the calendar, and I can't remember the date.
I keep it all up in here.
But also, we have a brand new concept coming through in October, which, if you're invited, should we tell them a little bit more at that stage? You fancy it?
I almost want to say maybe not. Maybe we should keep them on the edge of their seat. No, it's gonna be a new show, and it's gonna be mixes from artists. They'll put together mixes of what they're listening to, what they're inspired by, their own music, things like that. It's kind of an offshoot of what we were doing with Billows, where he would do the AMAP, and then we would have extended orbits of like a DJ session or session from an artist. So it's kind of that exclusively. So it's just a way to showcase the community, because our whole thing is we all want to grow together and discover new music together. As Curtis always puts it, together we grow. And Bendu, I can commiserate. He says, I'm just okay. It's very hot here. I know. It was 106 in Orange a couple days ago, and it's, I think, going to be 100 today. So I apologize for the air conditioner noise if you hear a large humming, but just think of it as like calming background noise.
Yeah, we'll call it. We all come from an ambient background. So
yeah, you guys are welcome to sample the sound, and use it in your music if you want. So what do we have in the news today? Why don't we switch over, because we got a truncated episode today.
Yes, we do have a truncated. We'll just let them know before we get into it. We have to leave at the top of the hour, and there's some stuff in the real world that needs to get done. So we stay hydrated, fellas.
If we had a Hydro Fighter water bottle, maybe we'd be better about it. I have a Hydro flask, but it's not the same.
That's what we need, exactly. So yeah, we got a little bit of a truncated episode. We're here for another 44 minutes or so, because we're going to leave at the top of the hour. We want to bring you a show, but we've also got some stuff that needs to happen at the top of the hour. So we're going to go straight into the news now. Let's start with. Should we start with your DistroKid news?
Sure.
Because that goes straight into that, because that allows us to segue nicely into other pieces.
The challenger that's approaching.
So let's start this. I'm going to share my screen so we can bring this up and go from here. So this is the news that you found, Sunwarper. This is the new canvas generator from DistroKid. Tell us all about this.
Yeah, so I got this email from DistroKid. We've talked about all the different types of distributors, and if anybody wants us to do a refresh for 2022, let us know in the comments or in the chat. But DistroKid, they keep adding new little cool additions to their offerings, and this one, it's cool at first. I was like, this is pretty cool, but then I saw kind of what it is. Basically, they took Pexels, which is a royalty-free video and photography website. You can get photos, video, whatever have you, and they put it in their DistroKid website, and then they added a little trimming function so you can trim it to be 8 seconds or less, because canvases on Spotify only go to 8 seconds, and they're supposed to loop, and so they handle all of the looping stuff and things like that. But it appears that it also adds a DistroKid watermark, and I mean, it's cool if you're pressed for time or you don't have editing software, though even phones have free editing software. But I would almost say, just if you have the time, go to Pexels, find the video, and you can add additional edits, because I feel like if you just search flowers and go with the first one that DistroKid pops up, it's like probably everybody else is using that one, But if you can edit it, add some like filterings and things like that, at least it becomes a little more unique. I think it's a very cool offering. I'm not trying to trash it. It just seems like it could use a little more. I don't know. I'm curious to hear your take in chat. What do you guys think about it? Do you use Spotify canvases for your music?
It'd be nice to know what you guys think. Yeah, I mean, Bendu is down for a Hydrofire water bottle, which if we could make that a canvas, that'd be quite fun. It's right.
Yeah.
Shady, eyes on you, bro.
He says he could probably make that happen, and then I believe that's DJ Space Terrapin. He's in the chat. Says, "Good evening, guys. Hey, how are you?"
Nice to see you, DJ Space Terrapin. We had a lovely chat concerning the new concept, and yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited.
But back to the canvas, because you went on a large tangent there with the wire.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Gotta rein you in. We're pressed for time today.
I know. My ADHD is running wild today.
Oh, yes. Take a deep breath.
So, I mean, you know my opinion of canvases. I think it's a good thing for DistroKid orders to do it.
Yeah.
I think the shareability, and if you, to be fair, if you don't have a canvas on your releases, it seriously does hinder. It does hinder them. They're less shareable massively. The aesthetic isn't there. I'm less enthusiastic by the. I'm less enthused by the watermarks, same as you. I get it. Like Instagram and TikTok, they all do that, and so I totally get it. But if you're looking for a canvas, if you want a canvas and you don't want a watermark, just hit me up. I'll make you a canvas because they're 8 seconds. And I'd much rather it was the case of not doing that. That's basically what I'm saying about that. You've got to have a canvas. It's 2022. You've got to have one. The shareability is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up. I'll make you a canvas.
And just back to the chat really quick. DJ Space Terrapin says he's fine, still working on the computer system. Next show might be a bit rocky. Yeah, what's going on with the computer system? I've been having some computer issues too. That's why I was mentioning I've been switching to more DAW-less stuff and hardware because I'm just over
it's
it.
Like a Skynet thing.
Yeah, maybe. But I have some music to send over your way, so expect a Twitter message soon. But yeah, how do you guys feel about these canvases? What do you think about DistroKid offering it? I feel like it's lacking a little bit, especially with that watermark. Like, it should at least have some sort of filtering add-ons or something, or, I don't know. It just seems like it could have a little more, but I like the fact that they're offering it. And as you know, we always talk, DistroKid has a lot of really cool additional offerings that are helpful, like little promo pictures and things like that. So it's just a cool little addition. But yeah. Why don't we move to the challenger that's arising to face DistroKid?
Oh, what a segue, sir. What a segue. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. So this popped up on my feed. So we have got the introduction of what is a new distributor called Sound Legends, which I don't know, you didn't grow up in English grammar school, but if you call something a legend, then there's always a bit of eye rolling involved. But
is it British or UK?
Well, it's based around over your end. So it's North and South America.
So maybe they don't know that. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we conquer the world. We'll see. But anyway, the idea here is that it's meant to be more of a grassroots platform for distribution, which I'm not sure how much more grassroots that you can get from a subscription service and then distributing it yourself. I'm not sure you can get as much, but these guys are claiming to be that way. Okay. They say that they offer a competitive advantage, and they actually give more people. This is purely in the US markets and in the South.
It's not worldwide yet.
Not yet. It's on its way. So I'm bringing it through. Yeah, obviously they want to go worldwide.
Oh yeah.
But they're plugging it as a way for artists such as myself, which are based in Europe, to then have a place and more of a space in the United States. That's what they're saying.
I see. Okay.
Which, on the grand scheme of things, is not a bad idea. It's a nice idea. If we look at their website, if I'm going to bring this through, people have just seen it. Very slight intuition to how we kind of
what's coming next.
What's coming next? Stay tuned for more. Basically, they say that they distribute to 300 platforms, same as DistroKid. You get paid for what you create, same as DistroKid, and they license and protect your music again, similar.
So it says get your free account now, but is there a cost, or do they take a higher percentage, kind of like what SoundDrop used to do? It says keep 100% of your royalties and your rights. So.
Yes. They keep 100% of your royalties and rights, and you have a free trial. But then you pay on.
Okay.
It's a free trial. Then you pay. You get 60 days free access, and then you start paying $6 per month. So DistroKid, for example, I pay $80 a year,
and that's for a label.
That's for a label.
Yeah, that's like 5 artists, because I think the OG like one artist thing is $20 a year. I have a 2 artist one, and it's I believe 35 or 36.
Exactly.
So $6 a year adds up, or $6 a month. I'm sorry.
$6 a month adds up entirely. But as they say, they have this wonderfully scientific table here, which suggests that they are better than, say, TuneCore and DistroKid. I mean, they're not bringing CD Baby into the equation, because CD Baby are just entirely. I mean,
I did want to mention that CD Baby is offering a discount on their releases at the moment. It's pretty low price per release.
So what? It's only $60 and half.
No, I think it's like $7 or something for a release. They dropped it drastically. I meant to put the email in our drive, but I didn't. But if you want to chat about that for a second, I'll see how much it is. Hold on.
Okay, so this is their table that they're saying this is why Sound Legends is better than TuneCore and DistroKid. So all of them, sorry, not us. I'm not a distribution channel. They say that they have worldwide distribution, but when it comes to music copywriting, artist dashboard with distribution and earnings tracking, and royalty retention, they are the only ones that do this.
Yeah.
Now,
so they're saying they'll copyright the music, like through the United States copyright thing?
In theory, which if you're sitting outside the United States is not always the best thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Now, I have worldwide distribution on everything that I make, but I have copyright with all my tracks based here in the Czech Republic. And that's because of exchange rates and basically of speed. It can take 2 years for you to get your royalty checks and stuff and your copywriting stuff come through. So if you're in another country, that can provide you with external or extra limitations, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to royalty retention as well. Like I say, sometimes 2.5 years for you to get a royalty check that comes through.
Jeez, yeah.
If I've got to go to an American company to then send me a check here to the Czech Republic, it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
So if you're in the United States, as they're based in the United States, that might be a good way to go. But if you're outside the United States, maybe try something different for now.
Yeah, and I found the CD Baby thing. It's a sale. They haven't said how long it lasts, but it's $4.99, so $5 for a single or for an album to get up on CD Baby. And CD Baby has a lot of things going for it in terms of the way they account things and stuff. It's the cost that's always been prohibitive in my opinion. So if you, I mean, $5.99 for one album, not terrible. It's still not $20 for as many releases as you want or whatever, but maybe it's time we do a little refresh on what each of these offer in the next few episodes. So if you want to hear about what all these distributors offer in 2022, let us know and we'll cover it. But that's good to know.
It is good to know. It's always nice to have, again, further democratization of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
It makes everything better for us, especially as indie musicians where we do a lot of this ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, can't complain. I mean, another guy in the play, not bad.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at some gear?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is quite an interesting little piece.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting little piece. Let me just share my screen one more time. Tina, please. Thank you. Sorry, Tina.
Cats, man. Cats.
Cats, man. So tell us all about this, the Perkons HD-01.
Yeah, so this is a drum machine, and I think it has some form of synth. I think you can do like drones or bass sounds, because it's an analog drum machine, 4-voice, hybrid voices, digital sound source, analog multi-mode filter. Are you able to get any audio?
No.
Bummer. Okay. I was gonna say this thing.
Let me try something.
This thing hits hard. But anyways, velocity-sensitive trigger inputs for the drum pads, 8 controls per voice, individual outs, which is huge, I think. Also, they've got a delay built in. No, but it says muted still.
As well as pros and cons compared to other drum synths.
Listen to that thing. Those kicks hit so hard, man.
I've also created a large sample pack of it.
That's Loot Pop's video. Really well worth watching if you want to get to know the synth deeply. He covers like everything. But it's got a built-in delay, compressor and overdrive, so you can get some gnarly sounds out of it. And then, let's see, 4-track sequencer with 4-time divisions and multipliers, per-step ratchets and probabilities. So for an analog synth, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, or analog drum machine, I should say, drum machine. I just think it sounds awesome. The price, I don't think is as awesome. It's $2,059.
Okay, let me just go and give you my total. Yeah.
Let's sell a kidney, sell both, one kidney each, and we can buy it and ship it to each other.
Exactly, yeah. I would love all the gear in the world. I really would. But I am really very much coming back to VSDs because I'm portable. I like to work out my bag anyway. But also, I ain't got $2,000 to spend on. I mean,
that's kind of why I've been gravitating to just a few small pieces of hardware that can kind of do it all. It was a little bit of a cost for entrance, but it has so much in it, and then I can just sample sounds I make in a DAW, throw it in there, and do so much more. It's something that's portable. I can take it anywhere.
It's different, but there's.
It's playing again. You can switch that off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Eon Lake were here this week, which we should have probably explained. Eon Lake can't join us this week. He's caught up in the real world. Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll find this on his desk next week.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound awesome. And I think over on that Luke Pop's video on his Patreon, you can get a sample pack from it. I think he puts sample packs from everything he reviews, but. I mean, it just sounded really cool, and I like to stay up to date on what's out, just to see, and maybe one day when we sell out and have a bunch of money, we can buy all the gear.
I love that.
Shady Ridge in the chat says that they use Symphonic as it's free, but they take more revenue. Interesting. Are you able, Shady, to set a date for release, or is it kind of just when you put it up, it goes up? I know some of those free ones have not the best scheduling functionality. I'm just curious. I haven't actually heard of Symphonic, so that might be one we can look into.
I don't know. I mean, I've just clicked onto their website here, and they've got people looking smiley on a video on the main page. So I mean, it must be good.
I mean, Shady uses it, so must
be good. I mean, Shady uses it, so it must be good. Yeah. We use Sounddrop over on Audionautic Records. And I mean, that has its pros and cons in its own right. Again, we touch on this fairly regularly. I think it's one of the most consistent things we've done through our time at Audionautic is distribution.
Well, it's good to stay up to date because things change. Look at CD Baby with their, let's call it, competitive sale at the moment.
Yeah. That's what we'll call it. We're just going to call it penance. But yeah, so yeah, it'd be nice to see. I mean, the drum machine, I've still got the Perkons HD-01 video playing in my cans as we're speaking, and
it sounds good. That's why I put it in there. It sounds really good.
And aesthetically, it looks incredibly beautiful.
You should throw that video link in the chat if anybody after wants to check it out.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good shout. Sending it over here, guys. Now it's in the chat now. I mean, wouldn't it just be lovely? Like have a semi Eon Lake studio where you just got everything you need and just plug it in.
One day, man. One day. But I don't know. Sometimes I keep going back, like using just 3 or 4 pieces of gear. It's like that limitation makes you think so much different and approach things differently because it's like, oh, I only have this many sounds I can generate at once, and I can only sample this much and that. It's really refreshing to work in that type of limited way. So
it is. Like, I mean, I've got my drums on the launch pad. I've got kind of like a bass on the monologue. I've got my ARPs by RAPs to be more specific. And I've got my guitar, and then underneath, I've now moved it underneath so you can't see it, but I've got my MIDI keyboard here, which does kind of like pads and stuff.
Nice, yeah.
And that's, in theory, that's all you need, really. And like Marooned, that is the majority of it. It's just live generated, like live looping. I've built it from there, so it's all very sparse. Again, looking at it though, like there's always like, okay, so I've had the Ultranova for. Oh, when did I go in Malaysia? I have for like 3 years now. Yeah. And I'm kind of at the stage where I'm like, I love it. I love it back and forth, and I can do lots of things with it. I could do with something new. I think
a little pocket operator, man. A little sampler makes the world go round.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. They're 2,000 Czech crowns, which is about $55. I think.
This one was, I think, 90. For this little
is that the special Street Fighter one?
This is, but it was cheaper than the normal 33.
Really?
Yeah, it was $10 cheaper, so that's why I got it.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. I mean, I've been thinking about it. Like the Pocket, my only hesitation with that kind of thing is that I've got a couple of Volkers on the shelf over there.
Yeah.
And all with these like pocket things, I always get, I use it and I smash it and I work it and I use it for about a month, and then I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, I'm a bit done with this now. Like, it's given me everything I need.
Well, maybe that month of novelty will be enough to go back to the Ultranova and be like, I'm sorry, I never meant to leave you.
Take me back. I'm changed. I'm a better man.
Exactly. Hey, in the chat, is anybody using a DAW setup or uses hardware mixed with it? I think Bendu, you're mostly modular, I think, but let us know, or if you're shifting that way. Just curious.
I'd like to know. Forest Robots had a new album come out this week, actually, which I think, from the sound of it, is mainly modular.
I know he's been getting really into modular, so maybe.
I'd be keen to see. Our resident modular madman is not here this week, but
modular maestro, let's put it.
Okay, modular.
Give
maestro.
him a little.
I was thinking more
okay?
like a Doc from Back to the Future, like just kind of like
Doc Howard.
Yeah, exactly. In that kind of madman, not kind of like a crazy person, but kind of like a genius, you know, that kind of thing. But he'll be back next week, I'm sure. Yeah. Hopefully.
You are missed, Howard.
Very much so. If you've got any modular-based questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm sure Eon Lake will watch this back and answer.
Yeah.
We can always go. So yeah, it's 34 minutes past the hour. We're doing all right, actually, as far as time goes.
Yeah.
Doing all right. As we've previously mentioned, if you've just tuned in, we are only here till the top of the hour this week, because for once, the first time in 27 weeks that we've been doing this, the real world has taken has called us.
Yeah.
It has taken its toll, and we have to get things done. But the show must go on nonetheless. Yeah. So, shall we sidle into the round robin?
Let's do it.
This is this basically stems from our conversation. For those who want to know, Sunwarper and I, we meet once a week to kind of determine what's going on for Audionautic for the week. I'm going to get rid of the Perkins video now. And yeah, so basically, we were talking about the big news from my end, apart from the other stuff that we've got coming next month, is the fact that I have finished my the tracking for my album Marooned, which originally was due to be released in October. I think it was October. Yeah, I think it was October. But looking at the time, looking at the dates with distribution and mixing and mastering, because Sunwarper does my mastering because he's bloody good at it. And then in the timeline, we're not sure if we're going to be able to make the October deadline. Now, we might be able to, but it depends on how quickly I can get my arse into gear, which, judging by the trajectory of how long this album has taken me to write, we don't know. We just don't know. I'm also I'm also engineering an album with a Prague-based producer, which is also taking a lot of time. So I've got 2 albums on the go, basically. That
was me last year.
Yeah,
Future
exactly.
Fade, and then this one that's coming out Friday.
The internal screaming is wonderful.
Really gets you up in the morning, you know? You're like, just really quick, before we get into the round robin, Bendu answered my question. He said, I use modular like a caveman. It's just a really fun mono synth most of the time, but I've fallen in love with semi-modulars, though. The make noise and Moog stuff is perfect for me. Yeah, I love the Dreadbox Erebus. That's a semi-modular, and like I just used it in my last video with the SP and the circuit, and semi-modulars are awesome, and I bet you can plug that into your modular and do even more stuff with the Bendu. But thanks for answering. That's awesome. Yeah.
I was what's the phrase? Networking. I think that's what the cool kids call it while you were talking. I didn't listen to what you were saying, but
well, that's your fault, not mine.
I mean, yeah, totally, totally. I'll just let you take the reins for a second.
That's all right. I did that earlier when I was looking at that, so fair is fair.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yin and yang. For those who don't know, Sunwarper and I have this intrinsic notability where we can read each other's minds, and that's just kind of how Audionautic has come to be what it is today. I'd like to know what goes on with you. But anyway, yes. So
it was a great ramble. I don't know where that was going, but whatever. We're past it now.
So originally Marooned was meant to be released in October, and if I could get my arse into gear with the mixing,
November, wasn't it?
November, sorry, yes,
yeah.
November. You're right, November 18th. And if I was to get my arse into gear, we could still make that date. But on Monday, we were discussing the idea of pushing it back to the new year to give us both a bit more breathing space and time to do it properly. Now, when this year started, I said that by the end of the year, I want to have this album out because I'm done with it and I like the stories and I want it to be out. And here we are towards the end of the year talking about shifting it past. Now, you as very much a person of discipline and making deadlines, and like for Future Fade, for example, 1 song a month for 12 months. And I'm very similar on that front. Like, you set a plan, you want to make it happen, etc. And then also you have this idea in the back of your head that you want the piece of art that you've been making to be good and be presentable and be
the
be
slippery
the voice.
slope though of that.
Well, this is why I'm bringing this to the table this week, because I want to know your thoughts. Because we might push. I haven't decided if I'm going to push back Marooned yet, like I say. But where do you strike that balance between having a timeline which you stick to and one that maintains discipline? This is our full-time job, and so we have to hit deadlines. Let's face it. But also trying to make sure that the content or the art that you're putting out into the world is something that you're proud of and intrinsically want to make available to people.
Yeah, so it's a tough one, and it's easy to get lost on either end, and either do something that affects quality or do something that you just get stuck in that perfectionist loop and it's well beyond just diminishing returns. That is why I really loved that whole concept of Future Fade and why I'm returning to a similar thing in January. And as if it's evident enough, like with Radiant Visage, the one that the pre-order goes up on Friday, I delayed that one, I think, multiple times to get it to here because I kept trying to change things. And at a certain point, I had sent you and Howard, Eon Lake, multiple versions of each song, and you guys were both just like, mate, just get it done. It's done. Just get it out. So I actually finished it in March, but I was testing out that Waterfall campaign release structure. And so I think, as I mentioned, I'm returning to that whole make a song in a month concept. So I like to structure things out, and I like to set a short deadline for short amounts of things, like small amounts of things, like not an album in a month, but a song in a month. I think that really helps, and for me, it's enough time to be flexible in terms of mixing and rewriting and adjusting things, but it's short enough where I don't get stuck in the thoughts of like, oh, I could change this synth again, or oh, these frequencies need this little notch and then this little notch and do this and that, and you just get lost in that. So yeah, I don't know if that's kind of what happened with Marooned, where you kind of get stuck in that whole like keep trying to change things and things like that, but that's what I find happens to me. So I like a very strict schedule and adhere to it, but it's got to be small chunks of it. It can't be like, I'm gonna have an album out in 2 months or something.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, well, Marooned is where it's at mainly because I keep getting distracted by other things. That's my issue. So
so taking on too much at once.
Yeah, I mean, you know me.
Yeah, that's true.
You know me. If someone says, do you want to collab? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's get it done. I love it.
But don't you feel like you need to get your own voice out there a little bit? Like that hasn't come up?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
So I remember we had that chat, and I was like, why don't you space out and put like your album between a few of these collabs? And
well, I mean, yes. I mean, I've got an EP coming out at the end of the month on the 23rd. Fragments 2. But
yeah.
I mean,
I think that's my favorite release of yours.
You say that every time I release something.
No. This one for real though.
Okay.
No. I just it wasn't what I expected from it. I was like, whoa, because I mastered it, so I heard it.
Yeah. I haven't done full ambient. Full ambient. Really, I don't think I've done full ambient before. So I think this is like full ambient. But anyway, one release at a time. The idea is that, yeah, you're right. I mean, the idea was there is always that balance between stuff that you collab with and then stuff that you want to put out and have a voice on your own. Yeah, sure. But I enjoy working with people. Like the times that we work together is one of my favorites. With putting things together.
Making drone metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how I got to that point from that song you sent me, but man.
Well, for anyone watching, for people watching now, Voyage 2 is going to be a trip. Let's put it that way. It's going to be a fucking trip. But yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, there is a case of me wanting to put my own stuff out, want to get it done, and sticking to a deadline. And if it was a case of diminishing returns, such as you say, where the idea is I'm just putting stuff towards you and Eon Lake and throwing it at you, and then how's the hi-hats or how's the riser or whatever, then yes. But
dude, that is a personal attack, man.
I don't know.
Because that's almost always the question I pose when I send the mix.
You know the hi-hats? You know that I'll always pick it up. I think I listened to Blue Sky Emissary about 6 times before.
That one had 15 different masters.
15? It had 15
that's
masters.
The most I've ever. And okay, that was 2020. I feel like I've grown a bit. Some of the songs at Radiant Visage only have 2 masters, and that's like a new level for me.
Well, okay, we're looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, I on the one hand, okay, so I want to keep to the deadline. I do, but also it's not bloody finished. And these stories, I have fallen back in love with these stories. Like, we've spoken about this. Like when I wrote the album originally, I was in love with the stories and the things that were being told. I then got disenchanted and I went to do a load of collabs, and then I kind of left it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I've come back to it, and I've been looking at it, and the stories are something I've really fallen in love with. And now I want them to be really, really. I want them to be good. I want them to be out there.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a stickler for discipline, as you know. I love the Google
calendar. I don't know that. when the term discipline comes to mind, I don't think Curtis.
No.
Let me put it that way.
Well, we'll see where that goes.
But prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But I will say, we have some incredible people in our chat who might be able to chime in and give you an opinion. What do you guys think about releases, and is it best to wait till you feel they're really ready, or if you set a date, get it out at that time? And what do you think for Curtis? Should he try to meet that November deadline, or should he let it sit for a little bit and get it to where he really wants it to be if you don't feel like it's already there, Curtis?
Let us know. I'd be keen to hear what you guys think. Yeah, we'll see. It's an album that's going to be interesting, so we'll see where it's at.
Oh, by the way, just talking about the chat, it reminded me, I really want to put the chat on the screen in these live streams, but I don't know if it may be, because we put these up over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts after they air on YouTube, which, if you want to help us out, give a little review over there, or a star on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or leave a like here while you're here. It helps a ton. It's very appreciated as well. But yeah, I was just curious. I totally blanked where I was going with it.
Put in the chat up on the screen.
That's right. Yeah, I want to put the chat up, but I don't know if it'll be like disorienting or something. But when those go up on Spotify and Apple, thanks for finishing my thought. I feel it'd be nice to have the chat visible for people watching.
I mean, that's one way of looking at it. It might be the fact, for example, when Eon Lake is here and when Hydrophyte is here, it might get a bit cluttered. But I mean, let's give it a try. I mean, we're all about experimentation. You might as well give it a try.
I just wanted to pose that question to the chat too. Would you guys want to see it on the video, or do you like it just being on the YouTube as the replay? It's there. Just curious. We're always trying to change and evolve, so just wanted some opinion. We've got some chat. So Space Terrapin says, artists need someone in their back knocking the one with the 10 iron when the track is ready. Yeah, definitely. See, I was gonna say that, Curtis, is that I feel like that's kind of what I meant with the slippery slope, is that usually a track is there before we think it's there, and we just keep this diminishing returns going. We also have Bendu. He said, I have been finished with my next album since last December. Waiting for that to be released has hurt my productivity. Yeah, I kind of felt that with my upcoming release. Like, it was done in March, and I've just been kind of sitting, trying to plan my next release thing out, because it doesn't start till January, but just like waiting, and I'm like, I just want to start it, because like now trying to promo this album, it's like I finished that a while ago. Like now I have to get back into this whole that mindset and stuff. Is that kind of how you're feeling as well, Bendu? Hydro Fighter also says, I like to move past the current idea so I can move on to the next project. Having a goal is a must regardless of deadlines. And yeah, Space Serpent again says, honestly, you can overthink texts, music, pictures. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very easy to get in that that slippery slope of like perfectionism and just wanting to tweak every little thing. And Bendu responded to my question, yes, yeah, I feel you, man. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's gonna be done. We'll see where it goes. I mentioned it a while back. I'm done with this album. I kind of want to move on to the next album.
Yeah, I think it sounds like Bendu, myself, and you are all in that same thing. I got to tell you, I think you should just, if you feel it's done enough, get it out in November.
Well, like I say, it's all tracked. It's just get it, finish the mix.
Yeah,
and that's the main thing. So I'm gonna hunker down.
Real quick, Shady says, I have a new album recorded but not mixed fully. I really can't have hard dates to meet. The label comes first. Overthinking is definitely not good. So a bit of a counterpoint there. Appreciative of that. Space Terrapin said, I had real difficulties to find artists handing me tracks for my beta shows. Yeah, I think part of that too might be it's hard to give something that will be listened by people when we don't feel it's ready.
Yeah,
you know, makes sense. So I can understand that. I know I totally failed in sending you the stuff because a lot of it was stuff that was technically done and for the album. So I was like, I feel like that's kind of cheating. So that's my bad. But yeah, I mean, if I have songs that are like in beta or not quite done, I only share them with a few people usually because I'm like, oh, if this thing's like, you know, if the hi-hats and kicks are like overblown, I don't know if I want people hearing that like as a first impression, you know. But on the other hand, sometimes it's cool for you to hear that and then hear the final product and be like, wow, it really transformed and changed, and you know, look at what it became.
Well, I'm similar on that front. Like, I don't render anything. For me, I don't render anything out until I think it deserves rendering. And at that point, that's like a threshold for me. Once I render out a rough cut, that's it. I'm into the mixing stage, and I don't render a beta. I don't really do that. Maybe I should. That'd be a nice way to go.
And Big Pouty says, I'm quite good at finishing things, but not so good at releasing them. I've got so much stuff ready that might not come out for months, but I'm used to that now. What holds you back from getting them out? Is it the scheduling or is it something else? We are at 10 till, so we probably should move over if we want to, or we can keep talking about this and do the marketing.
You're completely right. It's 50 minutes past
Sorry
the hour.
to do such a hard transition, but we've got some real world issues that are taking precedence.
So let's move into the marketing section of this show, and we can come back to the chat later.
Yeah.
We're talking about pre-save campaign.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to share my screen. Sunwarper, take the reins on this one.
Yeah, so this was very interesting. So I saw an article from Rootnote, which I believe is a distributor, and it was, stop asking people to pre-save your song. It's like, oh, that's very, very hard statement, but it's a very interesting read, and a lot of this stuff I didn't know, and maybe that's just me being ignorant about this, but you know, all these campaign places or companies that do these campaigns makes it sound like it's this huge, really important thing to get pre-saves, and that it's a part of like the Spotify ecosystem and stuff. Actually, turns out it's not. Spotify has nothing to do with pre-saves other than on the day of when the save is done. Because let me back up. So what happens is when you go to these pre-save things, you have to grant access or permissions to this company to be in your Spotify account and add a save when the song is released. So nothing actually happens on Spotify's app until the song is released, and it is then saved by this company that has access to your account. So yeah, so it's just a very weird. You're giving permissions to a company, not to Spotify, which you know.
That's a bit tricky.
I don't like that.
You don't like that.
Because you're giving them. I think the permissions you have to grant them is to add and remove songs, because you're giving them the ability to save a song on your Spotify account, and I think they can see everything you like and stuff on Spotify. It's, you know, privacy issues are always something we talk about, and so I thought that was one thing. And then they talk about some of the metrics of it all, because usually it's like, oh, having saves at the start is very important. That's what these pre-save companies will say. But what they're saying is it appears that a save is only one of several metrics that Spotify will use to determine the growth and trends of an artist and whether it should go on editorial or something like that. So a save is nice, but if it doesn't lead to a listen or a playlist ad or anything like that, it's just one of many metrics, and it's not really doing much and may actually skew and throw off your Spotify, you know, look. And then they also talked in terms of marketing. They said conversion rates to these Spotify campaigns, the pre-save campaigns, are pretty low, and so you're kind of wasting a potential listener by promoting this before it's released. and so they may not listen when it comes out because they already clicked something and they forgot about it, or something like that. Or it's just they don't want to go through all these multiple clicks. If you have to go to the pre-save campaign, you have to click the Spotify account, you have to give the permissions and all that. It's so many clicks that a lot of times people won't do that. So I just thought that was really interesting. I mean, I knew about the permission granting and stuff, but I always thought there was more involvement from Spotify, and it actually turns out there's none.
Oh. And I mean, it's an interesting one. I thought, as you say, you pre-save something and then it goes into Spotify. I didn't realize it was a third-party organization. Now it makes absolute sense. That's why DistroKids got their watermark all over it.
Yeah.
Completely makes sense. And I feel a little bit dirty as a result.
Yeah, so I'd be curious with the chat. Have you guys tried any pre-save campaigns, or do you push pre-saves? I used to a little bit. Like, I would just say, oh, if you want, like, the pre-orders here on Bandcamp, and if you want a pre-save, it's here. I'm actually contemplating not doing that anymore, just because, well, A, I don't really like the whole privacy issue of it, but B, it's not even through Spotify, and it does seem like a bit of a wasted click, because there's no way of knowing that just because it's saved on someone's account, it's going to be listened to, and the listen is much more important than a save. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd be interested to see. I mean, what's wrong with a good old-fashioned "I've got a song coming out on Friday, go and have a listen to it"? I mean, as opposed to pre-saving in that front. Incidentally, I've got a single coming out on Friday, so go and have a listen to it when it comes out.
Well, I've got an album, so I'm just kidding. Actually, it's just a single as well, because the pre-order is coming out. So
what single you got coming out on Friday?
Life Returns. It's the pre-order for.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. Okay, so you got Life Returns coming out. I've got All I Can Be coming out on Friday. We didn't really discuss that, did we?
It's on the calendar. Your perfect calendar.
My perfect calendar. This is mine's not actually out through Audionautic. It's actually a collab which I featured on, so it's not as big as yours. Perhaps,
I don't care. We can compete. We can joust or something. Have those giant swords on a horse and see what happens.
I mean, we both know that you're the better producer. So let's just
I don't know about that.
That.
I never do triplets in my music, so you got me beat there.
Triplets make it the man. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. I mean, I don't really push these pre-save stuff anyway. You know what I'm like with marketing at the moment. About 2 years ago, I was very much pre-save. Do this, do that. Do this, do that. These days, I'm very much like, there's a single out. Go have a look.
I think it's better, and we've both transitioned, and as a label, we've transitioned that it's almost a waste talking about it before. That's what I found, and it seems we found it. I'd be curious in the chat what you feel. But if you post about it, maybe you get a vanity like, but it's not there. There's nowhere to go. Like at least if there's a pre-order and a song is available, you can like send them there and they can download the song and listen and all that stuff. But if it's just like pre-save, it's gonna be forgotten. That's what I found.
Yeah, completely and utterly. Like it's we found a lot more success recently about promoting stuff after release. And like you say, when there's actually something there. So it'd be interesting to see, like, where, especially when Radiant Visage comes out towards the end of the year, where that kind of works out in that regard. But again, I reiterate, I'd like to know what you guys think. We have Shady Ridge Records in here, and we have a bunch of indie musicians in the chat. We'd like to know where you sit with this pre-save stuff.
Yeah. I just thought this was eye-opening for me. And again, it might just be ignorance on my front, but I was just like, oh, wow, Spotify has no involvement in this? Like, I thought there was at least some combination between the company and Spotify for a pre-save, but they're saying on this article, and it's in the chat, Curtis posted it in the chat if you want to give it a read, it's well worth reading, and there's a lot more they go into, but I was just like, wow, they have nothing to do with it. They just, I guess, according to the article, share their API with the company or something like that, and then the company does all this on their end, and then when the song's released, the only thing Spotify knows is that this user who gave permission, and through the permissions, the company then just saved it on the day of release. So just an interesting thing.
Yeah, very interesting. And on that note, we are 57 minutes past the hour, getting 3 minutes to our knockoff point. Like we say, I'm afraid we have to dodge a little bit early this week. The real world takes over, which is a bit of a shame. But it's been a hell of a show, though. It's been fun. It's like, again, we do planning and we kind of get things ready, and then we just kind of turn up and just sort of talk for a bit. It's been fun, bro. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's always great having such a lively chat. You guys help a ton, and really makes it such an enjoyable time. And we love doing these and growing together. Yeah. Completely.
Like when we hear what you guys are on about it, and what you guys are up to, and how you find off it, because we're just two dudes. So like, I mean, we like to see what you guys think. It's really nice.
Hydro Fighter in the chat said somebody doing something creepy beyond Spotify, doing something creepy. That's really creepy. Yeah, you're right. And then Bendu says, I don't use Spotify anymore, but I will say that I don't much care for Bandcamp pre-orders as it throws off my digital music hoarding scheme. What do you mean by that exactly?
Okay. The digital music hoarding scheme. Love to know that one.
Yeah.
I love that idea. Yeah, pre-orders again. I've not really done much of them. I mean, they have their places, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see where it goes. But again, post-release promo has kind of shifted in my brain, for me at least.
Yeah. I just think pre-orders are helpful for CDs, and thus you kind of have to do the digital, because like for me, I'll be shipping out those CDs, and so being able to hit it on the day of release rather than a week later, that's always nice for me. But or in my opinion. But yeah, that's all we've got for today. We really appreciate you all hanging out, and if you want to leave a like on the YouTube, it helps a ton. But yeah.
If you've enjoyed the show, if you've enjoyed chatting to us and to each other, like you say, like it. If you really liked it, why don't you share it and letting other people know that we exist and this is happening? Be nice to get it out more. So,
just really quick, Bendu explained. He said the pre-order is usually only 1 or 2 tracks, and I have to re-download / delete duplicates when released. I got you.
That must be a real, that's a ball like a half. Yeah. I'm gonna go and sit on that for a while, because that's made me angry. That their Bandcamp you re-download and duplicate. Nah, man, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll leave you guys. We'll love you and leave you for now. Thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful show, and we'll be back next week for episode 28. We'll see how that one goes. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, take care. Ciao.